All
When
right.
you, well, Calvin,
Yes.
Calvin, when
Yeah.
the meeting, when you close the meeting, it'll say end meeting for all. Immediately after that, it will say, it will show a bar going across the screen that is converting the recording into MP4. So just let
Okay.
that happen. Okay.
All right. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and officially start the meeting at 9:02. Welcome, everyone. I would like Janet to begin the meeting with an invocation.
You are going to hear a very short one, mercifully, from the anthropologist Margaret Mead. It's never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
Yes.
So let's be a thoughtful, committed group of citizens.
Thank you for that, Janet. Anne had mentioned that she was not going to be here today, so I would need for someone to act as well. I guess she'll get these minutes and she can go ahead and then record from there. So I guess we don't really need a stand-in at this point. So with that, I would like to do roll call. Will each of you state your name, please? Beginning with Heather.
Heather.
Ben.
Pam.
You, John.
Richard.
Janet. Okay.
Rick.
Melissa.
Okay, so we have the roll done. Thank you, everyone. And I am Calvin, and I am the
host,
facilitator, I guess, of this meeting. Okay, so the first thing would then be the reading of the minutes from last meeting. And I'll go ahead and I'll read those. The January 2019 minutes of the Mentors Association of the Prosperos. Mentors Association, was called to order at 9:03 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday, January 6th by President Calvin Harris, HWM, via conference call. Present were Hans Bolin, Ann Bowman, Alex Gambu, Melissa Goodnight, Calvin Harris, Richard Hartnett, Zoe Robinson, Pam Rudolph, and Rick Thomas. And it says here that Pam did a reading. So I guess that was the invocation. And then the secretary, Ann Bowman, read the minutes from the November meeting. Zoe Robinson, High Watch Mentor, moved, and Richard Hartnett had seconded the minutes accepted as read. Motion carried and minutes were accepted. Old business was the direction of Mentors Association. Heather Williams asked, what is the purpose of our monthly meetings? Why should she attend? She stated, we need to have 2 or 3 goals to work towards. Richard Hartnett stated one goal can be to implement written standards. What does it mean to be a mentor? And how can we be more professional? In answer to Heather's question, why should I attend the meeting, Ann Bowman proposed that we set up committees to develop each goal and answer why, what, who, how, and when. Each committee brings the ideas, research, etc., discussed in their respective meetings to the monthly meeting for the group to discuss and vote. The work for each idea be done in committee so our meetings can be more concise. Zoe Robinson had some idea she would like to share for getting the teaching out into the community, but does not want to be on a committee. She also said mentors who are not at the meeting need to be contacted for their ideas. Use of Google Docs. Anne reported that she understood Hugh John Melaniphy was working on setting this up. She will follow up with him. Classes. Zoe Robinson brought up the point that she was in the minutes of November meeting that she was going to give class. She wants to do class possibly starting with cosmic intention therapy. She has contacted about taking class, but has not heard from him. Pam Rudolph stated she is working on a planning calendar and would like anyone who has any classes or activities that they are working in addition to the Prosperos classes to contact her with the details. She would add the information to the calendar for distribution to only mentors. This calendar is not the calendar to be published by students giving class information, but rather a notification among mentors of what they are planning to do. January 2019 meeting of the Mentors Association of the Prosperos. So the next monthly meeting of the Mentors Association will be at 9 a.m. February 10th. There would be no further business for this meeting. President Harris adjourned the meeting at 10:01, respectively. As respectively submitted, Ann Bowman, Secretary Treasurer. Is there any addendum or change or comment to any of this? Is there a motion to have the minutes accepted as read?
Is that respectfully submitted or respective?
Yes.
Just checking that the editor comes through.
Okay, can we get someone to suggest that this be accepted?
All right, I'll do that. This is Richard Hart. I move that we accept the minutes as read.
Seconded.
Okay, so it's been moved by Richard, second by Rick. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay, so we those opposed? Okay, so we have 3 voting and nothing else. Is the
I
other?
thought we all voted.
Oh,
Aye.
okay. Pam said aye. Okay, Melissa.
What was that? Did you ask me a
yes.
question?
Yes, I was asking for the acceptance of the minutes.
Yes, I accept.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so they were approved and accepted by the association. And moving on to our next phase of business. Hold on just a moment. Okay. So we've had that. Okay. First line of old business is is there any updates from the Advertising and Promotion Committee? I think Richard, you and Janet are the 2 from that area. Do you have anything to report at this time?
Yeah, no, I have nothing on that.
How did I get put on a committee if this is the first meeting I've attended? Never let your guard down. They come in through the back door.
It was one of those, you weren't there and somebody probably said, should be perfect for that.
Yeah. Well, since I do a lot of, or have done over the past decades, God, it's been a long time, a lot of promotional materials, I think that's logical. So I'll accept the
Appointment.
thank you. Yeah. I am a little foggy this morning. Sorry, guys.
No, I think we all are. I know I am.
Well, I've got a monster cold right now, so I'm really glad we're not all in the same room.
Oh, okay.
There is something said for electronics. They don't promote living viruses.
Okay, then our a second item, uniform training of the Hiawatha mentors in speaking and counseling. I have not moved forward on the Toastmasters situation and will not be doing that until the summer. I have talked with Pam, and I believe that she will be on that committee that we will go together on a Toastmasters meeting or program and try and get and glean information for that to help set up whatever we're going to be using ourselves. So that's where that is at this point. Is there any other conversation on that? Okay. Update on the planning calendar. Pam, can you give us an update on that?
I sent a link out to everybody. If you don't see what you're planning to do on the calendar, let me know. As far as I know, the only one I don't have on there right now is the CIT class, because it hasn't been determined even approximately when they're going to try to do that. So that's the only one I'm waiting on right now. Everybody else's information should be on there.
Now, the CIT class, you're talking about the one for Ur and Boulan?
Yes.
Okay. What is happening there is that we are waiting for information back from them on what they would like to do.
Okay.
And on dates. And once we have that, then we'll go ahead and we can proceed with that.
Okay.
Rick, did you get any other information from either of them at this point?
No, but I saw an email from Boulant who says he wants to do it with Zoe. You probably saw that.
Yes.
Yes, that's the only thing I saw.
Right.
So
with
who's going to do the class? Who's going to be the instructor?
Well, there are 3 suggestions out. I think that the latest ones have been Rick and myself, so that they, because Zoe was saying that she may not be able to do it not until the fall.
Okay.
And if they wanted it sooner than that, we are giving them the option of either Rick or myself. So.
Okay.
So we don't know until that time.
Okay, good.
Now, okay, so we're talking about classes. Please, everyone, if any of you are thinking of taking my class, please go ahead and sign up. And there are 2 time frames for that. There's a morning and there is a evening sign up. And so I need to know if those both will be needed or whether it will be just the one. There seems to be signups for the morning, but I do need to find out if there's going to be any need for that evening class. So please let me know if you're planning on doing that. Registration is through my website, which is siteofcontact.net. and there is a link to what is called the Learning Circle. Hit that, and then that will take you to the registration page. Okay, moving on, the use of Google Docs. Evidently, it has come up that individuals aren't really sure as to the steps to getting into Google Docs. And since you're here, Hugh John, can you either suggest or maybe come up with what the pathway of finding whatever it is that they would need? Because I know we're going to have information about the assembly, plus there is past information that I believe is on Google Docs now. And so individuals would need to access that information. And so
aren't we also thinking about doing the minutes on Google Doc?
yes.
Okay.
So all of these things are going to be on Google Docs, but there seems to be some question as to how to get on and how to navigate through that to get the information that one would need.
Yeah, so let me give you kind of an overview of how it works, and kind of in context of where we are, in that, you know, any of us, you know, can create the Google Docs and a folder on whatever we're working on, and then the people that are working on it with us, any of the us, right, can be included in those documents, and the person who owns it can set the rights, whether they can, you know, edit and see it and just see it, or make it private within our group or open to the public in general with anyone with a link. So basically, you have complete control of the document and the folder, that kind of stuff. And so once the group is identified, whoever's going to be using or accessing that information, then they'll have access to that. So, you know, then an individual person, when you open up, and I can send this out to everyone, when you open up your Google Drive, you can go into a place to see what's shared with you. So you can see all the documents and folders that are shared with you. So you can be on multiple projects, and then you would see all those documents when you look at it. So that's kind of like how we're doing things now. Also, the Prosperos has a presence on Google Docs as a nonprofit, and so some of those shares will be out of that repository, where it's the school's repository, and then that's shared out to the right people that need access to that, etc. So once you have access to the documents and look at it in your shared documents, you just open it up in a browser. Now, I think to have the ability to edit the document, you need to have a Google account. If you don't have one, you don't have to have Google email or anything like that, but you need to have a Google account, I believe, to edit the documents. So I think, like, generally almost everyone's got a Google email address, and with that you have a login and stuff like that. But and once you're in Google, once you have your email open, you can access any of the Google services. But if you don't, then you need to have to create a Google account so that you can get the edit capabilities for documents that we're sharing amongst each other for whatever project we're working on. I don't know, does that help?
Okay, so I'm hearing that there are two levels here. I think the question before was just how those who had permission to look at whatever documents there were, just for them to go and look at the documents. So if there can be a maybe some sort of written how-to of navigating, then that would be good. And then maybe later how to get into to change if you have that ability. But right now, just to be able to get in and look at the documents.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I'll send something out to everyone, but basically you go into your Google Drive, and then in their drive, you'll be able to see everything. It's in your own personal Google Drive.
Okay.
So you can see your own documents and material that you have, and you can also see the shared resources that you've been opened up to share with. So there's two categories: your own personal stuff and your shared documents from other sources. And it could be anything. It could be the Prosperos, could be other organizations, but in Google Drive, you'll be able to see all that. And then you just click on it and open, and all you need is a browser to do any of the activities.
Could you
Okay,
do maybe a page snapshot of what that looks like when
Yeah,
you're
I'll send something out to everyone so that you can see.
Okay, great. And then I think if there's any more questions or whatever, we can go from there. Okay.
I have one
Yes,
question now. Am I right in saying that we would actually have a few specific groups that are standard? For example, all the mentors would be one and all the high watch would be another. And anytime you're going to write to people with regard to either of those two groups, in other words, I don't know exactly who all the high watch people are. So if I wanted to send something just to them, is there any way to standardize the distribution lists so that we don't have to hunt each time?
That's one of the things that we're trying to establish now by again starting to use titles so that we know who is a high watch and who is a mentor, and so where these things need to go. So I think what I'm hearing, Ben, is that you're looking for a standardized list. So I guess if everyone can send their information, I would think that it would be Anne would have a lot of that information. Janet, do you have any of that information?
That information?
The who would be members of the High Watch.
Okay, yes, I have, it's just what Ann sent me is who's a paid up member, and
Okay.
I think Ann has the records on that. And she may also have records on people who are High Watch who are not paid up that, may or may not be interested in being participants.
Okay,
So
but
I think that's one of the things that we will be working to kind of shore up within the next, within the coming year or two to get that sort of more consistent.
Okay,
but
if you don't mind, Calvin, there was another thing I wanted. Basically, I'm asking you, John, if you can incorporate what I'm talking about, or maybe not. Maybe it's irrelevant. But I have at the present time, I have a little bit of a confusion between what can and will be distributed through email and what can and will be distributed through Google Docs. I mean, remember, I'm a Gemini. I like to communicate almost all the time with everybody. And I've been doing it through email. So now my question is, well, what then, if anything, would I want to communicate through Google Docs?
Google Docs, I would say, would be historic archives and reference materials. I believe is what is going to be there. Like the assembly for 2020 is being planned. There may be information that we can use from the minutes, let's say, of last year's meetings, or also some of the information there. So if we can go back and then go through the archives of that information, that may save some steps later. Also,
Okay.
if a committee is working on something as a group, then that group may use Google Docs for them to share that information, get the information pulled together, and then once it's ready to be shared with a larger group, either the whole Mentors Association or with the whole school, then that may be a place where they can go to the they can go to the docs and see that information. But it's not really a communication tool as much as maybe tools to be used for in keeping reference materials in an archive. Does that sort of
Okay.
make
Yes, thank you.
And then also the link to that could always be sent via email. So if Calvin's sending
Oh, yeah.
the group, he can send out an email, and in that email is the link to the Google Doc. And or he can send the email out to everyone with the link to the Google Doc plus the doc within as an attachment. So there's, more options of getting out the information than less.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Any more discussion here? Okay. All right. Then that was pretty much what we had in old business, and then we will be following up. Is there any items for new business at this time?
When do we get to the assembly part?
Well, that we're working in conjunction with the High Watch, which is generally a situation that is a High Watch responsibility.
Okay.
But we are working closely with them on that.
Okay. Yeah, I sort of had a mind fart there. All right, I just want to share that I am making some progress on the assembly information from the hotel. I forwarded some information to Calvin and Pam, so you guys know what's going on.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. There is whatever other locations or whatever that individuals are working on, please get that in. We can help you with whatever questions that you may have about that. And I think that we will be getting ready for a decision one way or the other by July of this year on that. So that'll give us plenty of time so that we can work that out. After that is done, then go ahead. Who's speaking?
That's me. I just want to ask him, I know this is not for the mentors meeting, but real quick. Richard, did they discuss prices with you at all?
Yes, I forwarded emails to you and Calvin about that, so you can look that over after this.
Okay.
Meeting.
I didn't see the prices. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
There should be 2 emails that I sent out to you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Richard,
I'll look it over. Thank you.
Richard, did you also include in that email information to Al and Rick so that they are kept abreast of that, and Heather?
No, but
Okay.
I will.
Yeah, if you'll just CC them on that too, so that they are aware of. And also, I'm sorry, William, also.
Okay.
Okay, so that the executive council is aware of what's going on. It would be helpful.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so to be clear, the Mentors Association is the areas in which we are really concerned is speaking and counseling. And so these are the areas that if we can start thinking about how we can develop and move forward in that. I gave a Sunday meeting last week and was just horrified about how badly I had done on them. Not that the information wasn't there, but just in the delivery. So I am really being aware of that and having that improved.
Back to Toastmasters.
Yes. Okay. Is there any other business that we want to discuss at this point? So Hugh John, we will be expecting by next meeting, or would it be the meeting after that you would have this information to present? So would that be something that you will be presenting for our next meeting?
No, I'll send something out to everyone, and then I had the idea that maybe I'll do a video.
Oh, that would be
do
wonderful.
a screen capture so that you guys can see it on your, actual what the steps are on the screen, that kind of thing. So
That'll
I
be
think
wonderful.
that's what I'll do, and I'll send it out during the week. During this week, I'll send it out.
Okay, and then maybe we can have that presentation or whatever by our next meeting, or any
Sure.
comments or whatever we'll do at that time.
Yep, and we'll see where people are, and then
Okay,
help.
great. Excellent.
Mhm.
Richard, is there any way that any of us can help with the whole thing of our promotions and that? Because that seemed to have been one of the major issues that Suzanne had brought up at the beginning. And so if there's anything that any of us can help you with that committee, or maybe you and Janet get together and have a little something to present next week, that would next meeting, that would be great too.
Yeah, I'm fine with getting together with Richard and seeing what we need to address and how we need to address it. So
Okay, Jen and I'll do that.
Okay, great. Okay, so that'll be there. All right. If there is nothing else, is there a motion to have the meeting adjourned?
Okay, a motion, meeting adjourned, to adjourn the meeting, I mean.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved moved by Richard and second by Hugh John. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
Ben, Ben and
Hey.
Melissa, do we have a?
Hey, is there a voting?
Yes. Yes.
Is there a voting window in Zoom?
I'm not up on it as to know how to get that done.
You could call for a raise of.
Yeah, you could just do the raise hand thing
Where is that?
down on the right, lower corner.
In your participants list, you have to have the participants list up, and then you'll see a raise hand in there.
I got a
Okay,
lot
so
to learn.
open the participants list.
Right.
And then, so I think maybe we should just do this real quick.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
that-
Yeah. Okay. So
And then,
Heather raised her hand. Okay, great. Now, how do you raise the hand?
Lower, all the way over in the lower right. I just did mine.
Oh, I see. Yeah. On the phone, it's a little different
Yeah.
because I'm on the phone, but I figured it out. Hey, that's cool.
Y'all did it? Yeah, except for Janet.
Yeah, Janet doesn't know where anything is on here. Wait a minute. Something came up and disappeared. As soon as I tried to get there, it disappeared. Nope. All I've got is join audio, start video, invite participants, share, chat, record, and leave meeting. I have no idea.
Participants.
I
It's
have
under the
so
par-
much to learn. I am so Pennsylvania Dutch.
Well,
Janet,
that's okay.
Janet,
We're doing
click
really
on
well.
participant.
I'm just going to have to settle with somebody at the next meeting, and when I don't have a cold, and watch what you guys do.
I
Okay.
think Hugh John can walk you through it right now. Hugh John, right? Why don't you do that?
Well, what I see on I'm on the phone. Are you on the phone?
Yes.
I'm on the phone and on, I have video on the.
Okay. Okay. So if you're on the phone, you just touch the phone, and then once you touch the phone, you'll see on the bottom it says audio, video, share, and
I am on a landline. I am not on
Okay.
a smart.
Okay.
We
All
can
right.
get
those
like on
silly-
phone
Remember
down.
horses and buggies? I'm kind of
So I can't-
before that.
Okay.
know,
I can't help you. You need to be on the computer. If you're on the desktop.
Yeah, but she is on, visually she's on the computer.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is click on participants where it says
We do not need to spend meeting time teaching Janet how to use the computer. That's a sidebar issue.
Richard, maybe when you have your conversation with her, we can do that. All right. So
did it actually adjourn the meeting?
Yes. And that. And last thing, I just want to say happy birthday to Melissa.
Oh, happy birthday,
Melissa.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you for remembering.
A new year, a new trip around the sun.
Woohoo!
I'm always tripping around the sun.
Giddy up. Giddy up.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here, and aloha. Ben, don't go anywhere. I need to get this recording, talk with you about that. But everyone else, aloha. And Pam, I'll be talking to you tomorrow.
Alvin, I have a question for you also, so I'll stick around.
All right.
Aloha.
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 Calvin.
Yes.
You know whether we have a Sunday meeting next week? I know we have one this week. And if so, who's doing it?
I believe it's Hugh John.
Yeah, Hugh John is on the 17th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm supposed to introduce Heather at her meeting today, and I always like to say tune in for the next one.
Right, right.
So if you have one on the 17th and it's on, I'll mention it.
It's on that. Did you get a copy of the planning calendar that Pam sent out?
I probably did. I know that all this information is not reliable on the BAFTA bulletin, and it's not available on the Prosperos website. You click on calendar and it tells you that you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, these are some of the things that we're trying to, over the years, we're going, over this year and the next, we're going to be moving to try and get corrected. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's times I'm, thinking we're Hannibal's elephants trying to cross the Alps.
Okay. Now.
Okay, that was I will leave you to your discussion.
All right. Big hug. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you, Janet.
Well, thank you for making me a mentor without my consent.
It wasn't me.
I didn't do it.
Look to the executive council, my dear.
All right. I guess I'll have to pick up the baton.
Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Ben, hello.
Yeah. Hi there.
Hi there. Okay. So in stopping the recording part, I can't do that until the meeting is over or ended or what?
Oh, you can stop it. Go ahead and stop it right now.